Now, the official Suncoast weather with ABC7 meteorologist John Scalzi.
Current air temperature coming in at 83 degrees. We have a dew point of 74 with a west-northwest wind now coming in at about 7. That west-northwest wind helpful at this time of year in producing morning showers. And we've had a plethora of morning showers near the coastline. A very unstable air mass. Just needed some little kicker in the atmosphere to get it going. And westerly wind flow and the interaction of various cells out in Gulf waters did the trick. Got a kind of a mix of sun and clouds over many interior parts of our Suncoast right now, where the temperatures are warmer, 86 in Arcadia, 87 in Wauchula, 86 in Myakka. You get closer to the coastline and it benefits from that onshore wind flow. Plus, some of the downdraft of some of the storms have been pretty intense, and consequently, we've got some cooling going on due to that. 77 degrees in Inglewood, and 86 degrees in Venice, 83 in Sarasota, 85 Lakewood Ranch, and 74 degrees in Bradenton. So you look at the state of Florida here, and it obviously today is the hot spot in the entire deep south. Lots of thunderstorms popping up, some pretty good downdrafts. We've had both positive and negative lightning strikes, an indication that we have some very unstable air and some very tall thunderstorm activity today. Right now, the heaviest of the stuff is kind of out on the waters, and we really haven't seen a whole lot of that moving onshore in the last couple of hours. Though earlier this morning, we had some pretty good cells over parts of the Keys. Kind of interesting. You watch this radar picture, you get an idea that you have cells kind of moving in two different directions. A little bit of an erratic movement to some of these thunderstorm cells. Light rain falling across parts of Charlotte County right now, especially around the mouth of Charlotte Harbor. Out in Gulf waters, near Gulf waters, Inglewood, Northport, seeing the light rain, nothing really heavy. But to the north, there are some bigger cells out in Gulf waters, and these cells contain some gusty winds. You probably have some 35-knot gusts out there. So some pretty strong gusts, lightning strikes, things like that. Anna Maria Island, Holmes Beach, again, you're getting the brunt of this. Now, most of it tends to be moving to the north with a little bit of an easterly motion. So, yeah, you could get tagged, Holmes Beach, Anna Maria Island, by some of the stronger stuff over the course of the next hour or so. High pressure has sunk south, and as it does that, our southeast wind that we have had for several days now kind of gets replaced by a more westerly flow, southwesterly flow. And what that will do will be to encourage the formation of these morning showers near the coast. And then take a lot of those showers, push them closer to the coastline by mid-morning, late morning, into the afternoon. And then by later in the afternoon, kind of push everything into inland areas. So we'll wait for that to occur. Coastal showers, then inland storms. Highs will be kept down just a little bit from our previous day's high temperatures because of that onshore flow. And then overnight should be fairly calm except toward dawn, when we'll see a reemergence of a few showers near the coast. Put it into motion, and you'll see those showers favoring inland areas later in the afternoon with that southwest wind. Then by tomorrow morning, again, along the coastline, we'll see the showers and thunderstorms develop. And then once again, most of that activity will be moving inland. And we'll probably do the same thing each and every day for the next several days, so long as we have this southwesterly wind flow that we were talking about yesterday. The distribution of rainfall, I think, is kind of interesting in that we have probably a little bit better chance of seeing some heavier rainfalls near the coast today, tomorrow, the next day, than we had over the last several days because of that onshore flow. So southwest wind at about 10 knots, but obviously higher swells in the vicinity of thunderstorms. Light chop generally, though, and the second half of the day probably better for boating. Might have to wait till next week till we return to that more southeasterly wind flow and more typical summertime pattern. Scott?